G'day guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be making a roof rack for the HILUX. So I've put a bit of thought into this and basically I'm going to try and make it as simple a design as possible because I'm not a welder, I'm not a fabricator, I'm just a bloke giving it a crack. So with that said, I'll show you what I've done here and how I've made this thing, and I was super pleased with the result. So we'll get stuck in now and I'll show you exactly how I did that. Let's go. Pretty much I lost a lot of the length of the tray, putting that canopy on. I'm gonna be making that 1800 long, then I'm gonna be making it 1250 wide. So the reason behind that is the canopy is 1400 wide, and then I'm just gonna allow a little bit of room for the doors to open up on top. Now, I have some plans that I've drawn up. They are very rough, and this is for the side. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm using 2 bits of angle for the sides, and then just some box for slats going in between. So the idea is just, it's going to be the simplest construction that I can possibly come up with. Now I have made it a little bit more complicated and harder for myself by adding in all these holes along the length of the angle. So they're going to be 30mm holes, and there's going to be 30 of them, 15 on each side. So that is probably actually going to be the most time consuming part of this entire build, just drilling those. Luckily I do have a magnetic drill though, with a 30mm bit, so that should speed it up quite a bit. The idea behind that was I really like the look of the backbone, the Rhino Rack backbones, and I want to sort of copy that with these holes, plus it'll give me a heap of spots to tie stuff down to. Okay, 1 of 30 done. This is probably an outside job. Just gonna spend a bit of time getting this mag drill perfectly centered because I really want all these holes to line up. The 30 works. Hopefully you can't tell that the hole on the ends are 32 and the rest are gonna be 30s. So I started off with a 32mm broach bit, which turns out was blunt after I drilled 1.5 holes. So I had to drop down to a 30. So I'm hoping that you don't notice that some holes are 30mm and the one on the ends are 32. I don't think I have any other 32mm bits here. And I also don't think there's any more 30s apart from this one. So I'm hoping this one lasts for the rest of the holes. I'm just gonna go really slow and clear it out and keep heaps of lube up to it. It should be fine in theory. That was the first one where the bit moved itself off the hole, even though I was only really lightly pushing it down, so that hole might be slightly off center. So I got the first one finished, pretty much exactly how I wanted it to look, so really happy with that. This bit seems to be going okay now. It didn't really slow down at all. The only issue I had was that one just pulled itself off the hole, but the one after that was fine again. And they are all pretty much in a perfectly straight line looking down it. The only different ones are this first one, which is a 32mm, but you really can't even tell. Yeah, so on to the next one. That took about 45 minutes maybe, which is not too bad. Alrighty, finally made it. Last hole. Just gonna square this one up. Good to go. There we go. So, that was a lot of effort. If you want to do this, unless you have a mag drill and the bits, or a steel punch would be a good alternative, like a hydraulic steel punch. I would probably just get a quote to get that laser cut, because it would probably be quite cheap, I'd say, and they'd be able to do it a lot faster than I can. So there we go, I think I did a pretty good job. I avoid working at Brisbane Hire just because it is a hire shop, so there's stuff everywhere, so it's a little bit hard to get to the tools, and usually got to clean it out a bit. So I'm just going to clear a path to this drop saw over here. These guys are 2.5s. Was originally going to make it 1200 wide exactly, but I decided against that. A lot of things come in 1200 widths, so I'm going to make it 1250 just to make sure I've got a bit of room on the sides. And these are 2500, so I can cut these exactly in half to get 1250. I know my sawhorses aren't wide enough, so I'm going to be working across 2 sawhorses. There's going to be a lot of tack welding and checking, and then once it's fully square, we will weld. What I did was place these holes in groups of 3 with a little gap in the middle, and the gap in the middle was for these cross braces. I'll measure out the little angled ends next and probably do them with the grinder, I think will be easiest. Going to find the angle by coming back to where I want to be in relation to that first hole that I drilled. When I marked these holes, I marked a line from top to bottom. I went from the top center of this hole to 30 mil on the edge, so 30 mil from the bottom edge of the angle, because that is the height that my cross braces will sit at. So that end right there will be flush with the top of the last brace. 2 bars of battery left, which would be a good test because this stuff's 5 mil. So we'll see if we can make these 4 cuts. Good, it's taking shape now. Do the other side. Made it all the way through on the battery. It's flashing, so I probably wouldn't get another one, but we got 4 cuts in the 5 mil, which is pretty good. You may have noticed that these are galvanized, so not ideal, but unfortunately you get what you're given when you go to Bunnings at 6 o'clock on a Sunday. I'm just gonna grind a bit of that coating off before I weld, obviously. It's probably not gonna be great, but it'll be fine. Goes to here. Not ideal. Here we go. So if you are a welder, this is your trigger warning. Just cleaning up all the galvanized coating just off the ends where I'm going to weld. And now it's pretty much ready to weld, I think. I'm just gonna start by getting it all squared up as well as I can. And then I'll put a little tack in probably each corner. and then just do a couple of diagonal measurements to make sure it's square. And I'm getting the exact same measurement, that diagonal as that diagonal, and then it's all looking square at the corners too. So I'm gonna tack that in place now. Just do a quick double check. Pretty much spot on, which is actually kind of surprising. I'm just gonna try and lay down some neat welds here, but if I can't do that, I do have a grinder anyway as a backup. So I'll give this my best shot. And again, I'm not a welder, so enjoy. I have both of the ends done. They're welded and ground, so I'm going to start laying out the middle pieces now. Alrighty, that's gonna do it for tonight. I am very tired and it is 11:30, so it's all welded up. Pretty much just gonna give that a nice little sand and then an undercoat, and then that's gonna go black. I just gotta make the mounts, so it's gonna get 4 mounts which are gonna mount to the internal frame of the canopy. So yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. What's going on, guys? It's day 2 of the build. So I have my frame here, which I fully welded up last night. And now I'm just gonna sand it down. This stuff is galvanized. So I'm gonna be using an etch primer on that, and then I'm gonna be using some black as the top coat. Alrighty, so after I sanded and ground that away a little bit, it just revealed a couple of little spots where I've missed a bit with the weld. So I'm just gonna go back over them now. Obviously not grinding back so much that it is taking away any of the integrity of the weld, because I still want this to be as strong as possible. Just grinding it back so it doesn't look bad. And mainly only on the front and the back where you're actually gonna see it. All the inside ones, I haven't really ground away any there. My plan for the mounts is to use this guy here, and basically just gonna weld the top of that directly to the actual rack itself. This is gonna be about 50 mil, cut it off there. Just a matter of making them, they're quite simple. I think the hardest part there will be just getting the rack up next to the canopy or even on top, and just figuring out exactly where those mounts need to go. Just deciding how far forward or back on the actual canopy I want that rack to be, because it is longer than the canopy, so I've got to decide the overhang on the front, the overhang on the back. So I've got my 4 sections measured there. Basically, I'm going to be putting this mount on the end of the plate here, like this now. I've got my first one ready to go. none of the auto darkening helmets here work. And I already can't weld. So using this helmet is just making things extremely difficult, even in an ideal welding situation such as this. Just gonna double check this one. It's working. Maybe it just needed to be cleaned. Where I decide to mount this, that is going to get welded onto there, like so. Repping the Strength Sanctuary, which is my gym, located about 100 meters that way. I probably shouldn't wear this while I'm working, but I don't really own anything else, so here we are. Go for a test fit, where these feet are going to go. I'm liking the look of where it is now, so that it did change a little bit. My original idea was to have it a bit further back, but I kind of like it almost all forward, except for just a little bit off the end, so that if I'm sliding something up there, I don't catch the corner of the canopy. It looks like I'll be able to hit these rails here. Now, I've measured everything about 700 times because I'm very scared about drilling into my canopy, and it looks like it's all gonna be sweet. I've lined up those two rails, so I'm gonna weld the feet on facing in, and they're gonna pick up those rails perfectly. So we've got some Metal Shield all surface primer. This stuff is oil base, and it's pretty much the same stuff that's in the can there. I just used the can to get into those little annoying spots. Just gonna give it a quick coat. Try not to get too many runs because I'm just gonna have to sand them out. That's going to wrap it up for tonight. It's getting a bit late again, so I'll leave it there. Really happy with the progress today. I got heaps done. Anyways, that'll do me for tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Day number 3, or night number 3 now. This thing is ready to go. I've just got it hanging from the ceiling here off a couple of rafters. I'm going to give it a very quick light sand. I'm not taking that undercoat back off. I don't want to see any metal. I just want to take a couple of fat edges off. And then I'm going to be painting this thing black. So I'm just using some spray cans. I'm going to use this Duramax satin black. I've had some really good experience with this stuff. I use this on my bull bar as well. I've power washed that thing heaps of times, taken it through mud, dirt, sand, whatever, and the paint is still holding up sweet. Really like this stuff, and gonna be using it on here now.
I've been living wild, I'm just going through the motions. Stumbling out the Uber, grabbed my hand, gave me a notion. Swimming in your water, but it feels just like the ocean. I can't lie, I've really been addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie. On my mind, I can't lie. Pull you down till you dry. Pull you down till you dry. All the time, ease my mind. All the time, ease my mind. I know that you're dangerous, I'm addicted to you. I was sipping more for 2 years straight to the face. Champagne belly bubble still won't go.
We've got a couple of little rubber strips here. So that is going to be going down just to protect the powder coat. Alrighty, so just trying to figure out how to get this thing actually up there by myself without scratching everything.
All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie. On my mind, I can't lie. Pull you down till you dry.
That one. And I'll just pull this towel out from the other side. Looking good. Got the towel out. Okay, so there's a little brace on the inside of this canopy, which is 40mm box section that just comes straight off the back wall. So I've got to be at least 40mm out. All right, so coming 60mm off the back. So now I'll just line it up left to right, make sure directly over the center of those braces on the inside. 65 in from the side, still 60 in from the end. 65. Lovely. So we're going stainless as well. Make sure they don't rust up there, and I will be siliconing these in as well, just to make sure we don't get any water inside, obviously, and down inside those rails. Rightio, there we go. All bolted up, so straight through those rails, just as far towards either end as possible. So I've just had to use 2 washers on there because these bolts aren't threaded all the way through and they're just a little bit long, so I'll change those bolts over. So I haven't siliconed that yet. I will do that once I change the bolts over. And then that is pretty much all done. So there she is. That looks sweet. Here we are again, 11 o'clock on Thursday. That's gonna do it for tonight. That took, again, a bit longer than I expected. So I'm gonna finish that up in the morning and I'll give you a proper look at it tomorrow in the daylight. And throw together a little video so you can check that out if you want to build this yourself. It's quite easy, and so a little thing I did was just design it with an average welder in mind. So because I've got the angle on the sides there, it actually hides all the welds in the middle. The only welds you do see are on the feet, which they're nice easy ones. You can do them on a bench. And then you could actually bolt them to the frame if you wanted to, instead of welding to the frame, just to make it a little bit changeable if you wanted to. But yeah, that's gonna do me for tonight. I'm happy with that, and it's all good to drive home now. So I'll see you tomorrow when it's a bit lighter.
Addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie. On my mind, I can't lie. Pull you down till you dry. Pull you down till you dry. All the time, ease my mind. All the time, ease my mind.
So guys, that's the roof rack done. I'm super happy with how that turned out. As you can see, I couldn't wait to put the thing to use. Had to pick up some bits and pieces for some repairs at the gym. So it's already loaded up, but I'm sure you understand what it looks like from that. That thing was super easy to make. You could make that with really basic skills. The only difficult part will be the holes, but you could easily get them done at a laser cutters if you want to include them as well. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you if you've made it this far. I really appreciate you guys. Almost at 4,000 subscribers on that note. So if you do like the videos, I'd love for you to subscribe and drop us a like as well. It really helps me get these videos seen by more people and helps me make more videos, which is awesome. So thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.
Last year my best man hit a stain with bare face. Now he's got a LB on the water's cold case. I wake up with pain sometime and never go away. Wonder why I balance to my knees when I pray. In my city gritty, gotta keep it on your waist, or you might be a victim, they'll find you DOA.